So, hi everybody. My name is Ben. I am a guy who basically has figured out some things and I want to share them. I was hesitating over making this video for a long time, but when I discovered these things as far as health and fitness and just overall well being, I felt like I had to share it because the common knowledge that's out there is just completely wrong. I've looked up many scientific studies, I've done my research, I've experimented on my own body, and I've found that the vast knowledge out there of how humans work and how we're supposed to be is wrong. And I'm not going to go into why I think, our information and what we're taught is wrong and they don't teach us correctly because, some of it is we just didn't know. And some of it is people are so stuck on believing what they were taught that they can't let stuff go once we figured out that it was wrong. So, the biggest things I want to talk about in this video is two things. Number one, our bodies were not meant to function primarily on carbohydrates, that being flour, sugar, cornstarch, anything that is glucose or turns into glucose in the body. It's not what we were meant to take. It's not meant what we were to eat. It causes inflammation. It causes insulin resistance, which I believe, and I'll get into this in other videos, is the primary cause of almost every disease known to man. I mean, and I said almost. So, Alzheimer's, diabetes. I mean, diabetes is really, we kind of know that. Type 1 or type 2, obviously it varies a little bit, but yeah, it is amazing what we're taught. I mean, the food pyramid, for God's sake, it's wrong. Okay, I'm going to go out there. I'm just going to tell you, it's wrong. All right. Grains, I don't care if they're whole grains. I don't care if it's part of a grain. I don't care. Don't put it in your body. It's not meant to do that. And it all makes sense. I mean, our bodies were meant to function on fat and protein. And if you think of it from an evolutionary standpoint, for tens of thousands of years, that makes sense. I mean, what did we do? We went out and killed something and ate it. I mean, it wasn't until recently that we started growing food and processing it and turning it into stuff that we started ingesting. But that's not how we evolved. That isn't what our bodies do. So the best analogy I can think of for this is an electric car with a gas tank reserve. Okay, an electric car is designed primarily to run on electricity. And if you run on electricity, except for in cases of emergency where there's no electricity around and you got to use that little backup gas tank, the car will last you 100 years. Well, that's kind of like what your body is. So if you're running your body on fats and proteins, how it's meant to be ran, and then in the occasional here and there, you got to throw some sugar or flour in it to get by, okay, fine. But when you run your body or this analogous car I'm talking about on what was meant to be just a reserve tank, it's going to break down. It's going to break down way sooner than it's supposed to. So in the case of the electric car, if you say, screw the electricity, I'm just going to run it on this gas tank all the time, that 100-year car is going to last you about 5 years. I mean, it's going to die because yes, it can run on that, but that's not what it was meant for. It's meant for emergencies and just in case. That's how our bodies are evolved. The glucose and the sugar and the carbohydrates is a just in case. So like think of it from an evolutionary standpoint. You went out, you tried to kill something. You weren't able to kill anything that day, so you didn't eat. You're not able to kill anything the next day, you don't eat. You didn't kill anything the third day, you don't eat. Okay, now you're really getting hungry, but hey, look, there's a bush over there that's got some berries on it. We can eat that. That'll get us by. But we're not meant to say, forget killing things and just bring home a bunch of sugar and the berries and just eat that. But that's how we are now. Everything we eat has sugar and carbohydrates in it, and it's wrong. And I know for a long time I thought about this. I was like, this can't be right. I mean, everything we eat has sugar and flour in it. Okay, maybe it's not good for you, but so what? There's a lot of things that aren't good for you to a small degree. And maybe that's what flour and sugar is. Everyone's saying, oh, it's not good for you. It's not good for you. I didn't realize to what extent it was bad for you. I mean, it is hugely bad. I mean, massively bad. I cut out sugar and carbs out of my diet here and there a couple years ago for a few months, and the change was huge. I mean, I won't even get into in this video how much weight I dropped, but it was dramatic. Um, my skin cleared up. The whites of my eyes were whiter. I mean, the toxins in my body were just coming out, and it was amazing. And all I ate was fat, and I would eat green vegetables. I mean, I would eat high fat cuts of meat and chicken, and uh, absolutely no flour, no carbohydrates, no anything. The mood that changed in me as far as clarity of thought and just how I could relax and how I saw the world, it was amazing. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. So, I also, the other point that I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I said I wanted to go over 2 points. That was point number one. And I'm going to back all this up with a whole bunch of facts and scientific studies and everything like that in the later videos that I'm going to do here. But the other thing is the frequency at which we eat, okay? And this one really bugs me. The 3 meal a day thing. I mean, that's what I was taught. I'm 41 years old. In school, that's what we were taught. You eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's it. You don't snack. You don't do anything like that. Maybe a small snack before you go to bed if you're really hungry. Since then, it's changed into, oh no, we need to eat 6 meals a day. Now, this makes sense to the logical person, I guess, who doesn't know anything but still thinks logically. Well, let's see. If you stop eating, your metabolism is going to slow down, and the next time you do eat, it's all going to go right to your fat cells. I cannot tell you how many times I've heard that. Makes sense to the lay person who doesn't understand that, which was me. That made sense to me. If you stop eating, your body's going to stop burning stuff, and the next time you do eat, it's going to be like, oh, wow, food, store it. That makes sense. Then, okay, eat 6 smaller meals a day, so you're not increasing your caloric intake. You're not taking in more calories. You're just spacing it out through the day to keep your metabolism going. Makes sense. Just like a fire, you don't throw a whole huge fat log on it. You keep medium-sized logs on it all day to keep the fire going. Again, it makes sense to the lay person. I mean, who doesn't that make sense to? I mean, you listen to that makes sense. Unfortunately, it's wrong. It is absolutely wrong. Our body is not that simple. Okay, that's a very simplistic 1 + 1 = 2. That it does make sense, but it doesn't work that way because our bodies are so much more complex. So, in order to demonstrate this, I guess, and I've not done one this long before, but I'm going to fast. I'm going to not eat anything. All I'm going to consume is water and salt, pink Himalayan salt, which has no calories, but it gets you your electrolytes and your minerals and keeps your body from shutting down. So I am going to do this for 72 hours, 3 days. I've never done it this long before. I have fasted for 24 hours before, and I can't tell you how amazing I felt. Most people are like, "Oh, you're gonna die if you don't eat," and to also illustrate this, I'm actually going to go work out in the gym in the middle of my fast. So at some point in my fast, probably around the 2 day mark, I'm going to go into the gym. I'm going to run 5 miles on a treadmill. Now it takes me an hour to do that. I am not a triathlete, Olympian or anything like that. So I'll run for a minute and then I'll, walk quickly for a minute and then I'll run for another minute. So I kind of alternate back and forth. But with no food in my system, most people's thought process is, oh my gosh, you're going to die, and so I'm going to do it. I'm going to take some video here and there just to see it. But, this channel is basically going to be trying to dispel myths about what you're taught. And I'm going to use my own body to prove this stuff because, people say things that are, either that's flat out lies or it's flat out wrong just because they don't know. And this one really bothers me too, people say things that aren't necessarily wrong or incorrect, but they misstate how important they are. So, for example, when people say that, you should eat whole grain bread because it's healthy. It's healthier than the other choices, but all are bad for you, you know. And the other thing is, oh, it's okay because it's natural. That statement bugs the crap out of me, okay, because arsenic is natural, okay. It doesn't mean you should be sticking it in your body, okay. So anyway, just a couple things that I have proof. I'm going to cite some scientific studies that I've looked up and tested out on myself, and I will, you know, tell you about the study, and I'll show you my own results. So hopefully this helps some people, and hopefully it helps you live a longer, happier, healthier life. And I just like, this is my first video. I just felt that, you know, I had all this knowledge popping up in me that I've experimented myself and discovered this stuff. And it's not just reading it on the internet and you find, you know, you find a website that you like because you like what it says, you go with that and say, oh, this is real. You know, I've done my research. I listen to videos, I watch videos, I read scientific studies on both sides, you know, ones that are agreeing with what I'm saying and the ones that try to, you know, disprove what I'm saying. And I scrutinize both of them. So, and at the end of the day, I say, you know what, I'm going to try this out on myself. Okay. And you know, as far as medical history, I'm a normal guy. I don't have any serious ailments. I don't have diabetes. I don't have anything that really messes things up as far as like not being comparable to the average Joe. You know, I hear that one a lot too. Well, you know, everybody's different. Of course everybody's different, but only to a certain point. You know, to say that, well, I'm a human being and I breathe oxygen, well, that's you and everyone's different. No, everyone's not different. We all breathe oxygen. So there's a line there where, you know, oh, well, maybe cutting out carbohydrates works for you, but it doesn't work for me because we're all different. No, we're all evolved the same way. Now there is minor differences. Okay, so before everybody starts commenting with, you know, the obvious stuff like, you know, the best example is lactose intolerance. Okay, we are just now evolving to break down lactose. There is a significant percentage of the world of human beings that are lactose intolerant because they don't have the gene that allows them to break down the lactose, which is the sugar in the milk. And we're just now developing that because for so long we're consuming this stuff. But some of the parts of the world where they don't really consume milk from cows and other animals, you know, they don't have this gene. So in that sense, I will give it to you. We are all a little different that way. Okay. But this basic, our bodies are meant to run on fat and protein, and carbohydrates is a only if absolutely necessary thing we should be ingesting. That's not different for everybody. Okay. Now, I am not a doctor. So if you have some severe medical condition and you're going to try to cut out carbohydrates, you know, and you're on some kind of medication or something, ask your doctor. Okay. I'm not circumventing doctor's advice on medication or to treat an existing condition. But if you're a healthy human being, you don't take any medication, and you're just got extra weight on you, you're tired, you feel like crap, I'm telling you, cut out the carbohydrates, flour and sugar. Don't eat anything with them. Eat fat, meat, you know, and you know, I hate to use the word keto. I don't hate to use it. I love keto, but I don't want anyone to think that this is an advertisement for ketogenic diet. I mean, whether it's keto, paleo, all meat, whatever you got to do to get rid of carbohydrates, do it. And I'm telling you, you're going to feel 10 times better. So I'm going to go ahead and add in here my results for my 3-day fast, and feel free to comment below and subscribe, and I'll add more videos later. See you guys soon.
So I'm 20 hours or so into my 72-hour fast. Never done one this long. I just got back from the gym. All I did was lift a little bit and decided to take it easy. So I'm not saying I'm not hungry. I mean, I could eat, don't get me wrong. If somebody put something in front of me and I didn't care about my diet, then I'd eat it. But it's not unmanageable. It's not the first time I've done a fast, so I'm a little used to it. But if it's the first time that I'd ever done this, then I could see how, you know, it'd be harder than it feels like to me right now. So drinking my water with pink Himalayan salt mixed in, and that's it. That's all I've had. No coffee, no nothing. So We'll keep you updated. So I'm about 40 hours into my fast. Still hanging in there, just water and Himalayan pink salt mixed in. And I gotta say, I'm doing okay. I mean, I feel a little bit of hunger, but it's not as bad as already what I already felt around 24 hours. So I know I can handle it. So yeah, I think we'll be okay. 9:30 tonight will be 48 hours, and then just another 24 hours to go. So I'm gonna go head out to the gym and get a little physical activity in. I can't sit behind a desk all day, so we'll let you know how it goes.
Okay, guys, that's it. 72 hours is done. I'm about ready to actually eat something. But I have to tell you, 3 days, no food whatsoever, water and salt mixed in. That's all I've had. And I got to tell you, I'm really not hungry. I'm going to eat just because I think I should. But I feel really good. All right. So, you know, like I said, I'm making this video so that I can dispel certain myths. Like, you got to eat 6 times a day. All right. It's been 3 days, 72 hours, and I've taken in no food. And I have to tell you, I feel better now than if I ate, a nice big meal with, let's say a steak and a potato, asparagus, and I eat all that. I feel better now than I do after eating that. So, you saw the, quick little couple seconds of me on a treadmill for an hour, running 5 miles or something like that. I mean, according to what we've been taught, I mean, I should be dead or in the emergency room. Or what I'm saying is that, this whole you got to eat 3 times a day, you got to eat 6 times a day, you got to eat every day. Okay, that's not true. And in fact, and I'll get into this in other videos, there's a mechanism in your body that only happens when you don't eat for at least 16 hours, and it is critical to health, longevity, and it cannot do what it's supposed to do unless you go at least 16 hours without eating. Our bodies are made to go that long, and this mechanism that cleans out your body with stuff that you probably think can't be cleaned out, but it can. It never gets a chance to do what it's supposed to do, because how many people do you know who voluntarily go 16 hours without eating? Probably nobody. So just saying, what you were taught most cases is not correct, and I'm going to do a lot more and tell you a lot more as far as nutrition, health, and even a few other things too. So if there's anything you want me to do a video on, leave it in the comment below, or please subscribe and tell me what you think about this video and the other ones I'm making. Talk to you guys later.